In this video, we're going to focus on the array IndexOf method, and this array IndexOf method is very powerful if you combine it. And let's start and explore this. First of all, this is the Chartjs array series covering everything about Chartjs in combination with arrays. Alright, so what are we going to do? Well, let's get a specific value here and let's start to look how the IndexOf works. So for example here, I want to get the yellow color. I want to know which index number this is. And if you are familiar with index, let me really explain this. So we have index. This is why in Chartjs you see the value indexable, meaning that there's a index or array value possible. Alright, and then we also have elements. So let me explain these two. So the first one, the index, is basically zero based. Counting starts with 0. So if we refer to the first value here, we say this is index 0 because the label starts counting at the very beginning, which is 0. However, if we're talking about element, this element here, red, is considered the first element in the array. So that might be confusing. So the first element, which is red, is index 0. So basically this is the first element. Well, this is index 0 index. The reason why is basically if we would communicate to each other and we are referring to the element, we want to say the first element and not the 0th element, which is probably not even a word or doesn't make any sense at all because there's no 0. 0 equals nothing. So we're referring to the first element. However, in computer language, in an array, it's called an index 0. Very important, don't get confused with that. Alright, so now let's start to look then with IndexOf. So with IndexOf, we can get the exact value. For example, yellow, we'll get the index value. I repeat, the index value, meaning if this is 0, this is 1, this is number 2. So let's get that one. So we say here labels, and then we say IndexOf with capital O, and then in here we will put in the value that we want. What it does is it does absolutely nothing except pinpointing the value that we want. And this becomes important because imagine you want to have the yellow one, but you also need, of course, the matching data, the matching colors, the matching, etc., everything that's matching with that value. So let's start and explore that. So first of all, I will say here console.log and save this and then go in here and refresh. So here we have nothing happens here. However, you can see we get the value which is number 2, indicating the index value of yellow, which is correct. So the reason why this is so important is, for example, we want to add this value here, or for example, you want to make a new array. This becomes very powerful if you combine them, and then you want to add, of course, the matching value. So how will we get the matching value here? Let's say in data we want to get the matching value. How do we do this? Well, if we understand that this, by default, this entire item is number 2, so I say here console log. If I say the following, I want to get this value here, I will do just this data, and then we say index number 2. But this is hard coded. We cannot have hard coded, but we need to have a soft coded. This here is soft coded because we will get the value here. And you could even soft code this completely by saying labels number 2. So let's see what happens here now. So labels number 2, okay, and then we get here the third value, which is number 3, and yellow is the value of number 3. That is correct. So of course in this case it understands this because this label number 2, JavaScript understands this is yellow, basically the text yellow. So that's why it shows here number 2 as well. But here right now we just hard coded it in here. But this is the way you will do it. So if you say here, let's go back here, and it has to be exact here, yellow. We have this one here. So if I save this now, you see this. Oh, what did I do? I probably remove one of these parentheses, save that, and go back. All right, there we are. So we get this here, and then of course, can we get the same value here for Oh, sorry, we don't want this. This is hard coded, of course. So how do we soft code this now? We just copy this part here. This label here equals number 2. As you can see here, it shows number 2. So what we're going to do here now is just copy all of this, put it in here. If we save that now, we get, oh, what happens here? Sorry, that is not correct. We need to put it in here. That's basically, because this here is number 2. So we say in the data, get number 2, just as what we did that previously, but now with a code. So refresh this. Now we get this. There you are. That's correct. So let's try one more, where we're going to get the value of, instead of data, we're going to get the background color. So if we get the background color of yellow, we should expect this color here. This is the third one. This is 1, 2, 3. So this means this is the second index. Save that, refresh, and now we can see here 255.206.86.0.2, 255.206.86.0.2. This is an exact match. Alright, so now we have this. Imagine we need to add up this value as well. Of course, you understand here what we could do is basically push this specific value in a array. If you want to push that, how would we do it? Well, basically we'll say here, let's say we want to end up at the very end. We're going to push it. We say here labels dot push, open parentheses, and then here again, oh, I'm going to remove the console log and save this and refresh. Now you can see we have pushed it here nicely. Of course, we're not done yet. I realize as well, we're pushing not the labels index of, we're pushing basically this specific text. That's not what we really wanted. What I wanted was the text of it. Because right now what happens, it gets the value of number 2, and that's why you see here the label is number 2. Doesn't make sense. We should have, of course, our item here. We have the labels push, labels yellow. Well, in this case, what we need to do is we need to just add up the value here. How do we do that? Let me double check. What did I do here? We have to check again. We're going to get the labels, put in the labels here, and then we say here the array. If we save this now and refresh, we get now yellow. So the reason why what happened was basically we need to get the array. So what we could do as well, and this is why now it gets slightly more complicated. It's because we're nesting multiple array functions within or methods within each other, and it becomes very powerful. So we say here push. Well, what we can do as well is we could, instead of push, we could do here another one, pushing the data, and then we're going to get this here all, put it in here. There you are. And if we do this again, you will see here, but probably we don't see anything yet. Push the label with the data. Of course, this is not what I want. And now here, same story here. What will be the background color dot push? So what are we pushing? We're pushing this basically in the array, but we want now, what are we going to get is the background color value. And then we say this is an array as well, and this is number 2. Get it from there and push it at the very end. Alright, so once we have this one, I'm going to do the final one here quickly. This is the background color with border color. We put the border color here. We're going to push in the border color array. What exactly? Well, the border color number, which was number 2 here. That's basically what we're doing. So this is in short what we're doing here. I'm going to remove this, save that. You can see here we have this. Alright, yellow, that works exactly well. You might wonder why, what happened here. Well, this is the following what happens. In here, in the fill value, we are going to put by default based on whatever the length here of the array. If we want to soft code that, we could do the following. I'm going to put in this here, dot length, and then it starts to multiply it by 7. So if I save this now and refresh, oh, sorry, this is probably not allowed because we didn't indicate anything here yet. So I can ignore that one. We will work on that later on. We're going to use the length array as well. However, this is the most important one, what I did here, this here below. And the reason why here, you can start to add and remove specific values, add specific values, and extract them. And with that, I'm referring to think about filtered data. For example, you want to have data filtered. I will very soon cover that one, which will become very important in Chart.js. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chartjs, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chartjs. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.